Well, it's really exciting to be here, starting the first day of Festival of Media Global with Michelle Pola from Hello Fear, who has just opened with a very inspiring and fun session. I mean, you started by dancing as well. How did that go?
So I realized that dancing calms me down. So my husband suggested, why don't you start the conference dancing? I love to dance. I love to dance in public and in my house.
Did you always love dancing in public?
Yeah.
Or is that a fear you've overcome?
I love it. I really enjoy it. So I love party. Well, like dancing. I love dancing. And so, my husband suggested to start the conference dancing. I was like, you are crazy. But then he says, like, what do you say to people that are uncomfortable? And I'm like, to do it? And he's like, you should do it. So I had to.
Well, I have to admit, I was told before you went on that this was what was going to happen.
Okay.
And that the idea was that we should get up and dance.
Oh, yeah.
So I was pretty much the only person that got up and danced,
thank
wasn't
you.
I? But it was terrifying. So, I'm kind of split on whether that has been a positive experience or not. I did look crazy in front of a lot of people. So this was a good way to start the conference,
yes.
really.
So you face a fear. Congrats.
Thank you. And how are you finding Rome so far?
Oh, wow. The event?
Yeah, well, and just the city.
Rome?
Have you seen any of it?
Oh, my God. I love Rome. We came 2 years ago for a night.
Yeah.
And I was underestimating this city. It's amazing. So we have to come back. So this time we're staying for a whole week in Rome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What do you have planned?
Well, just relaxing, living the city, feeling like not a tourist here, like
Live like a local, as
Airbnb
like
a local, like an Italian. I don't know. So we're taking it very, very relaxed. Yep.
So tell us about your session then. It's about this 100 Days, 100 Fears project that you did.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So 2 years ago, I decided to become a braver person and take advantage of this amazing opportunity that we had at school as I was doing my master's in branding to do a 100-day project. So I was constantly thinking, what should I do? What should I do? And when I started to live in New York, I realized how fearful I was compared to the rest of the people. And I realized the amount of things that I was missing out because of these fears that I had. So I realized this is my chance to face my fears. I was 26, I'm now 28. And I was like, you know what? I don't have kids yet, so if I die, at least no one will really depend on their life on me or whatever. So, and I'm married, and my husband fully supported me. It was his dream for me to become a braver person. For his entire life, he's like, when are you going to be a braver person? Like, seriously. And when I told him I was doing this, he got so excited. He said, I'll support you. I'll face the fears with you.
Yeah,
so
what fears has he faced?
Oh my God, he faced almost all of them. So he did skydiving. Obviously, yeah. He was like, if something happens to my wife, maybe I want to be there too. And then he ate crickets with me. He did almost all of them except for karaoke.
Okay. So is that his biggest fear, or was it because he didn't fear it, or?
He did fear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like, okay, you did it. So let's go home. I'm like, go home, but you can do it now. And he's like, no way, I'm not doing this.
That's another time.
Yes.
You're going to make him
sing.
I
have to. That has to happen.
So what was for you the biggest, your number one fear from this project? I mean, speaking on stage is obviously, we were discussing, must have been a pretty big fear.
Well, I think some of the biggest fears I never even wrote in my list because I was too terrified to face those. So I was like, I think I can make up 100 without facing this couple. So for example, holding a tarantula is something that I was completely against. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But then what happened?
Because if you drop them, they're so compacted, they explode, don't they? So I don't want to kill a tarantula, but I also don't want to hold it.
2 fears in one: holding a tarantula and not let it fall off my arm so I can kill the tarantula. It was crazy. But then it was, my brother was like, my best friend has a tarantula and he lives next door. And I'm like, how can I say no to that? So I did it, and I was very surprised by that experience because I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot.
Have you got a pet tarantula now?
I would, but I'm traveling all the time. I don't know if they are allowed on planes.
Not
probably
sure. Not the best
hotels.
Idea. That sounds like a Samuel L. Jackson kind of movie, tarantulas on a plane.
Yes, totally.
I mean, you mentioned, obviously, you run a YouTube channel, and I thought that was quite interesting because I also try to. And the comments that you get, you said, reading them out was one of them. And I think that's a really hard fear to face. And it's something, obviously with cyberbullying these days is a big issue. How did you find that?
So at first, I was a little bit hurt and shocked, mostly shocked. Because when you dream about going viral one day and people getting inspired by your project, because I knew there was some power to this project that I was doing of facing my own fears, I never even consider haters. Never. Like, I don't know. It didn't. I'm a very innocent person, as you can see. It didn't cross my mind. So when it happened, I was first shocked, and I was like, I have to face a fear out of this. So that's why I
What
read
type of
them
things
out
did
loud.
people say that
So they were
was-
saying basically as a general comment that these were not fears, because I started by facing smaller fears like getting a Brazilian wax or eating an oyster, things that people do on their day to day. So they were very questioning the fears that I was facing, and they were saying that this is just a way for me to get attention. Another thing that they were saying is that, oh, I wish I had all the time in the world to do that and all the money in the world, which they were completely wrong, because at the time I was working full time
And a student.
in advertising,
Yeah.
and I was being a student at night. So I had no time whatsoever. I would use my lunchtime to face a fear, or my weekends. So those comments like kind of hurt, but at the same time, I very quickly realized that the people who are commenting are probably not doing anything with their lives. They're not facing fears, and they're clearly not inspiring anyone, just being trolls in the internet. So I didn't really care about them at the end, and I still don't.
Congratulations. And some of the funniest YouTube videos of people going through their comments. I always love when Jenna Marbles does things like that, for example, stuff like that. So I studied biology at university, and obviously fear has a very important
Yeah.
purpose, really,
Okay.
to stop us from doing things that we shouldn't do. Like you say, spiders, the original reason is because they were poisonous or
Yes.
could kill you. So, there's a reason behind it. So do you think it's always a good thing to conquer fear, or do you think fear is necessary?
I think fear is necessary, and we have to identify which fears are really holding you back from the lifestyle that you want. So we all have dreams, and many people, I think the majority of the people, they don't accomplish their dreams because of their mental limitations. So their mental fears are like, I'm not going to be good enough at this, so probably why should I even start? So those fears are the ones that we should conquer, not the ones that put us in risk or danger. Like, unless, it's really limiting you from the life that you want, then it's okay to have fears.
Another thing I think is interesting is the learned fear aspect of it.
Okay.
Because I remember as a kid, I used to, and this is very odd, have beetles that lived in our garden, and I would hold them in my hand quite happily. They're quite big ones with like
Yeah.
antennas.
Ooh.
Then at a certain point, I brought one into school with me for a show and tell project. I know, it's very weird, I know. And all of the kids freaked out. From that point, I was terrified of these beetles. And there's a video of me somewhere like screaming when I saw one.
Wow.
So it's obviously that I'd seen they were responding in that way and picked that
Yeah,
up.
totally.
So there's this different kind of fears. Do you think age is a thing, that people pick up new fears with age?
I do think so. When we're born, we don't really know what fear is. We learn that from society, from our parents mostly. So it's really important for parents to take into account every single word that they're saying, and not even the words, but their actions. Like, for example, the other day I was in a plane, and when we arrived, this family, like the parents, started clapping, and the kids, it was their first time on a plane. They were like 7 year old, and they were asking, Dad, why are we clapping? And the dad is like, because we made it alive. And I'm like, no, what are you saying to this kid? Now they
No,
have a
that's in
fear
their
of
head.
not making it alive. Like, oh, that's a possibility. We could have died. You put us here.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful. And now I am very aware of these little things that we have to, say or do when we're with kids.
Obviously, you mentioned you worked in the advertising industry before you started doing your degree in New York, which, congratulations, it sounds like you have so much on your plate. I fear having that much on my plate. What common fears do you think come up in this industry?
In the advertising
Yeah,
industry.
in media in general.
Oh, wow. Let me think. So definitely the fear of not being as good as your peers in terms of, for example, creativity. Because I can talk from my experience. I was in the creative department in advertising. I was an art director. So
You have some lovely logos in your Hello Fear. Is that you that designed those? The like little octopus guy?
Yeah,
They're so
yeah,
cute.
yeah.
Sorry.
So what I did is, so in advertising, I always had that fear of not being as creative as my peers, because you constantly have to show creativity. Like, your skills at the end, they're not as important as your creative mind. So you have to be very inspired, and I think that's a big fear among creative people. We're constantly comparing ourselves not only to our peers but to the award shows. Like, it's such a big deal, in general, that we want to be the best and the most creative ones, and sometimes I feel that we even forget to find the best way to help the client, because we want to be the most creative ones. And so when I was in advertising and I realized this, I started to change my focus from being the most creative person in the agency and winning the awards to actually making an impact in my client. And that really, really helped me in my agency, in my personal life, and that's my advice.
A point that was raised by one of the people in the audience that I thought was quite interesting is that some brands do kind of use fear.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's something that is that a strategy people should use or not? You know, do you think? I mean, to me, I thought about when you went through the centre of New York in your bikini and the poster of the lady with the beach body, and that's clearly channeling on your fear that you shouldn't go to the beach unless you have that girl's body.
Yeah. I really don't think at this day and age, and by this generation, the millennial generation, I don't think fear in advertising is well received. I think that we react more to companies that are out there encouraging us to be our best selves and to even recognize our daily successes, our daily accomplishments. And those are the brands that we want to be part of, not the brands that are all about fear, because we don't really react to that in a good way, I feel, like this generation. Yeah, probably older generations, they're more prone to, we shouldn't do that because, this is what may happen. And this is, when I just say that, I picture my mom or my grandma saying these things, not us. We're all about, progress.
So how has this interview gone for you so far? What would be the thing you most fear going wrong with this interview right now that's obviously going to go onto the internet and be seen by potentially the whole world? What would be the worst thing that could happen?
Oh, the worst?
The worst thing you could do right now.
Oh my God. So what happens is that now I don't even ask myself that question anymore. Like, I erased it from my mind. I don't ask myself what's the worst that could happen anymore. Like, seriously, I made such a big effort to just erase it that I constantly ask myself what's the best that could happen. And I try to focus on that. I think, before coming here, I was terrified to speak to these people. Like, I'm like, oh, it's my first time actually speaking to advertising and media people. So let's see how this goes. And I was terrified. And then I'm like, no. What's the best that could happen? I'm like, what if they get really inspired and they go back to their works with this mentality of being bold? So,
well, thank you very much. It's now time for Emerge, and I think you did inspire a lot of people.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad.
And I hope you have a lovely time in Rome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to keep exploring the city. It's beautiful.
Is there anything you fear about Rome?
No, should I?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, unless you're frightened of little lizards. I think there are some of them running about. There's a unicorn in the garden. Are you frightened of unicorns?
I love unicorns. I should take a
there.
picture.
He's called Cornetto. Go get a photo with him.
So if you have any fears to suggest me, please do, because I'm in this mood of facing fears now.
I'll have a think and come back to you on that.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. This was a great interview.
It's lovely to meet you. Thanks.